Hello, loves. Your girl Carrie here. Today, I want to talk about parenting with a narcissist. However, if you are in the dating field and you have a child or children, I suggest that you still stick around because something happened to me that I will share with you throughout this video and or at the end of the video. And it was about my ex-husband dating a narcissist and the things that she had done to my children and myself. So I think that some of the information that I share will be very helpful for you to look out for basically with your children, especially if you're leaving this individual alone with your children. Maybe they've been around for a little bit and you trust them enough to keep them alone with your kids. Then this one's for you. If you haven't seen my past videos, or even if you had, I'll remind you of how I had stated that narcissistic individuals, they lack empathy. This is why they can't truly heal, because you have to be empathetic and see things in different perceptions, but you also have to be able to look internally and feel your emotions so that you can heal them. Non-narcissistic individuals, they want children to build a family, for that companionship, for that connection, to maybe have someone carry on their name and so forth. Where narcissistic individuals, since they look at love as entity and supply, they don't have children for the loving, caring, compassionate type of way like us non-narcissistic people do. They actually have children for control. They have children as what I call sticky products. So basically, to make their supply source that they're with, their lover or wife or husband or whatever you are with them, they do this so that you are basically stuck with them, so that if in the event that you start to see the mask is falling off and you guys divorce and so forth, you truly don't ever get away from them. They could still manipulate you and control you and possibly even still siphon supply from you. And that brings us to our first topic. They will make false allegations against you, either framing you as the abuser, exaggerating situations that may occur. They will do these things so that they can gain control, but then also so that they can manipulate you to punish you against the system. They will also do this to start putting into the children's minds like that you're the bad person versus themselves. Number two, they'll use the child as a pawn. They will literally use the child to hurt you, to punish you, to degrade you, basically to get back at you for any situation that maybe they tried to use as manipulation, but you were smarter than whatever tactic that they were trying to use. And so what they'll do is there's got to be a way to get back, and they know that the number one importance of your life is your children, so they will use them as pawn to basically hold over your head as a way to make you do things and manipulate you into things, so that therefore you do it just because of the fact that you're trying to protect your child or your children, and obviously at the cost of yourself. They will do things like block access to your children when they are in their care or their parenting time. They'll purposely block your number so that it doesn't ring to the child's phone, or they'll like withhold contact or place certain time frames and things that you could call and check in versus, just having free will and calling them anytime that you have availability and want to check in with them and see how they are. They will do this stuff so that it is a way to control you and obviously to maintain you under stress, so that it will cause distress between you and the child or children. They will badmouth you. They will purposely speak negative about you. They will bring up situations that maybe you did, and flip it and make it, twist it to be like something extravagant that you did that makes it look like you're the bad person. And they will do this so that it can jeopardize and or come between you and your children or child, the relationship that you guys have. They will gaslight the children just like they gaslight you. If the child brings up something that the other parent did, that the narcissistic parent did, and it made them look bad, or it's not giving them a good image, or, going against their ego, they will gaslight them. They will make them think that their memory's wrong, or that they, don't have the real sense of reality, just as much as they will do to you as well, to make it so that they're the good person and that they're actually, the victim out of the situation. They will do what's called triangulation. They will literally go get friends, family, professionals, doctors that the children go and see, their pediatrician, but they will do things like create drama and create situations and, conflict overall, so that way it makes it look like you're the bad person, and that every time they have their kids, you just have to cause this huge commotion for them. And they will literally put the other parties, like, like I said, family, friends, and so forth, they will put them in the middle of it and almost like make them choose sides and make it so that they look so wonderful and you are just this like crazy other parent. They will do things what's called like move the goalpost. They will take like prior arrangements or prior events and, any expectations or even goals that your kids have, and they will purposely arrange them so that it makes the other parent off balance or not prepared or even not even involved, because they will change things and change the arrangements so that the other parent looks like the bad parent that doesn't show up or isn't involved and, doesn't give any presents to the children. They will overload conflict. They will purposely like start arguments, they will cause chaos, start unnecessary drama, and they will do this so that the child is overwhelmed or super drained instead of spending time with you and, having a good time. Or they may even do it so that the child is just overwhelmed in general and then blame it on you. They will perform smear campaigns against you. They will tell the school that you're this horrible person. They'll tell parents, they'll tell family, friends, old neighbors. They will literally stage you as this horrible person. And then that way, when you are around those individuals, they will truly think that that is who you are. And this was actually how I caught the whole narcissistic ex-girlfriend of my ex-husband, because she went to the school and told my kid's school, that I was a drug addict, that I don't change them, I don't, feed them. And so the school called me and they were like, who is this woman? Because she wasn't obviously authorized to, pick up my kids and stuff. And so they were like confused, like what was going on. And that was actually what opened up the can of worms. And here she was saying those things. She was telling the school that I was this drug addict and I don't feed my kids and I don't bathe my kids and so forth, because literally 2 weeks later, she filed a DCFS, so a child services uh, report on me. So it was like she was staging it so that in case when the DCFS, they don't only just come to your home, they go to the school. So then the school could obviously be like, oh yeah, we heard that, if they didn't end up calling me and actually finding out the truth. They will perform financial manipulation. This actually happened with my ex. He gave her like combined assets with her. I don't know if it was just a checking or what, whatever happened with them. That wasn't my part of my business. But all of a sudden, he wasn't sending like the school supply money, and like we have to split any extracurricular stuff. And he's like, oh, well, I don't have my quick pay set up. I'm like, well, what happened? Oh, we combined like the same checking account. And I was like, oh my God, like I knew right there. And I was like, dude, you are with a narcissist. Like, I mean, all of this was when everything started to crumble. And like I said, I'll tell you the whole story with that. But they will literally take your finances and make it like they're helping you, and they will start to hoard money. They will have like unnecessary financial, things that are coming out of the account. They'll basically use it to control you and to also keep tabs on you to see what you're spending and where you're going and so forth. They will disrespect boundaries. They will literally ignore your personal boundaries, your self respect. They will ignore court orders. They are in like a mind of their own, that whatever world that they say is what reality truly is. They will literally cost you money to keep bringing them to court because they won't listen to court orders, or they want to use court as a way to cause distress with you financially, your time. Obviously you'd have to take off work and so forth. They will do those things just to have control, to be vindictive, and to drain you. They will play the victim narrative with the children and other people. They will literally play victim so that they could get attention and sympathy and, just all around support, and make it look like they're just this wonderful person and you just make their life such a living hell. They will love bomb the children. They will literally buy extravagant things, or if the child expresses that they're interested in something, when the child comes back for parenting time, they magically have this wonderful gift. And so they make themselves look like what I always say, Disney dad or Disney mom, because it's like they really truly never step up to the plate and actually be a parent, but they always perceive themselves as that Disney mom and Disney dad. And because empathy isn't there, they truly don't care about the children's needs or wants. They will put their needs and wants as well as their image before the kids are ever fulfilled with their personal needs or wants, or even their responsibility to take care of the children. A huge one that happens is they will use the court system to control, manipulate, and abuse you. They will continue constant applications, constant motions, complaints, reports, all of that to harass you and to gain control and basically just entice you to have constant chronic stress, because you're almost like afraid to do anything with your children because it'll result in them making some sort of motion or correction, or even just all around abuse to emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and so forth, just to abuse you and keep control, because obviously you two aren't together anymore. So this is their way of still having control of you and your emotions. And the one we all know is they don't have accountability. They lack accountability. So they will never, ever, ever take responsibility or accountability for anything that they're supposed to be doing for the child or the children. They will blame everyone else then when something falls through the cracks because it wasn't them. With my ex again, he would allow the girlfriend to do homework with my kids because I would be at work, and supposedly, on his days, he has them 2 school nights overnight, and he would have her do the homework, and we would constantly get these yellow sheets that the homework wasn't done. And she would literally write in there that I didn't check it and that this is because of me. And like she would write that in the actual like assignment book, making it like that I, as the mother who didn't even have them in my custody at the time, they were overnight with their father, that I didn't check the homework. It was so bizarre. Now, where I said about if you are in the dating field and you've never been with a narcissist, and things that I think you should look out for if you have children or a child, I would first and foremost look if they're like trying to move super fast, if they're talking about long term with you, that you're their soulmate and they want to like move in, combine assets, do all this stuff like right away. That's a huge red flag that they're most likely narcissistic, because they have to move super fast. It's basically a con artist. Like they have to hurry up and move quick so that way they can manipulate you, because anyone that gives themselves logical time to think, they obviously would think it through and know that something didn't add up. What I mainly want to address is, my ex-husband had this woman move in his home, and he didn't even tell me. So I found out by my daughter coming home one day with like scratches on her arm, and it was like supposedly from this girl's cat. And so I'm like, wait, who's that? And so that's how even I found out that this woman was living in his home. And I don't care, that's his business, but where I care is obviously when it affects my kids or has my kids involved. So after that, now that I know that she's living there, I befriended her. I was bringing this woman to my salon, and I was like doing her hair for free. I borrowed her my clothes. Like they went to some country concert, and I was like, oh yeah, here, you can wear my leather pants. Like I didn't care. Like I'm not a vindictive person. I'm a very friendly person. Like I just don't do drama, And so here I am befriending this woman, thinking that she's a cool person, because of course she's basically love bombing me. But I'm thinking, oh, this is great. She's living with my kids. Like I want to keep that, just kosher, friendly relationship. And I started noticing like my ex and I were having many, like, I don't want to say altercations because that's kind of like pushing it, but basically, like, for instance, I had purchased right before the school year, I had purchased a bunch of pajamas for my daughter, and magically, like, we had no pajamas in the house. And so I told him, I said, hey, I need pajamas for her because they must have all ended up at your house. And he's like, I don't have any here. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you have to have all of them because I literally have none. I mean, and this girl has a million clothes, okay? And he's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, I just bought like 5 pairs of pajamas at the beginning of the school year. And now we were probably like 2 months into the school year. So it was like things like that I was like, it was causing little like altercations or whatever you want to say between my ex and I. And lo and behold, when she had to leave his house, and I'll tell you that following up with this, but when my ex was moving her stuff out because she was ordered by an order of protection to leave his home, because in the state of Illinois, if someone lives with you for more than like 6 months or a year or something like that, they automatically gain residency even if they're not an owner of the home. So he would have had to go through the whole eviction process. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise what she did, and I'll explain. But we ended up, both of us got orders of protection against this woman. And so when he was moving her out, there was in his crawl space, so under his home, there was a huge garbage bag filled with my daughter's pajamas. And he like called me and he was like, you're not gonna believe what I just found under my crawl space. I'm like, what? And he's like, remember how we had that thing like months ago about the pajamas? I'm like, yeah. He found the whole bag underneath there. So yeah, so long story short, like my daughter started acting, this is how I really knew, is my daughter started acting very on edge. Like she would come home from her dad's and she was like just very crabby. I would tell her things like, go brush your teeth, and she'd be like, I'm doing it. And I'd be like, what the heck? Like my kids aren't disrespectful, like I raised them to be respectful, to, clean up after themselves. Like, I don't have monster kids, thankfully. And, but my, so I noticed it first in my daughter. And it was after when the school called, how I told you that in the beginning of this video, when the school called and opened up that can of worms of like her basically degrading me and stuff. And then how I had DCFS at my house. That was where I totally knew I had to I sat my kids down. I'm like, is there something going on at dad's? Like, is this woman hurting you guys? No. So I knew, because I am a childhood abuse survivor, and we wouldn't tell my mom anything because kids know that you guys, the mom and the dad are the disciplinary people. They know that you're going to speak up for them. They know you're going to protect them, and they don't want to add any, enlightenment or drama or chaos or whatever to a chaotic environment. So clearly, this woman's chaotic, and they don't want to add, if they tell mom that she's, doing stuff to them, they're going to obviously, I'm going to go to her and be like, what the heck? I'm going to obviously investigate it. So they're not going to tell you because they're scared. I knew right away I needed to get them in counseling, because that was when I told on my ex-stepfather when I was abused as a child. So right away I got my kids in counseling, and sure enough, basically she was tormenting my children, performing psychological abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. She wasn't physically hitting my kids, but she was doing very mentally insane things to them. Like, for instance, I'll show this example. She would go and take their take-home folders out of their book bag, and she would put this creepy doll in the book bag. So then when my daughter would wake up and go to put her lunch bag in her book bag for the day so that obviously she could bring it to school, this doll would be in the book bag when she opened it to scare her. And she knew my daughter was like terrified of this creepy doll, and she would do things like putting it in the bathtub. So like she'd be like, aren't you gonna take a bath? And so she would like put this creepy doll in there, and this is the doll. So yes, this woman was literally tormenting my children, and it seems as though she was tormenting my daughter more than my son. And I don't know if it's because in her mental state that maybe my daughter looks more like me and she's a girl like me, and maybe this was her way of like, I don't know, getting at me, but like not directly. But basically she knew there was no way that she could take me down, and she already tried, causing all this confrontation with my ex and I, and then that didn't work. And then here she's trying to do this like DCFS case as if, what did she think, that my ex would think I turned into somebody different? And like, I don't know I don't know if that was like her way of getting my kids taken away so that I was like out of the picture. Basically she tried everything, and then she knew obviously that my kids were my life. So it was like, then she even tried this route. I'm almost scared that if that route didn't work too, that she was going to try and end up taking my life. I mean, honestly, that's how sick they are. They try and manipulate and do all these crazy things. She just wanted me out of the picture, but clearly I'm not going anywhere. We have children that we share together, but that is how sick. All of a sudden you think you're in this good relationship and they will turn your entire world upside down, and it goes fast. I mean, this all happened in a matter of 2 months, 3 months. I mean, that's how quick these people work. This is pure evil. And to do this stuff to children, naive, innocent children, there is truly a place in hell for those type of people. So the moral is that children are used as an entity just like you. There is no empathy inside of a narcissist, so they don't have that loving companionship with any children, whether it's your child with them or if you're combining your home with someone, that is a narcissist. They will use those children to manipulate, to use, abuse, to keep you stuck, and so forth. They will treat your children horribly. So if you are coming out of a marriage or, obviously have kids with someone else, they will cause so much chaos and commotion with that ex-spouse of yours or, ex-baby mama, daddy, whatever of yours, because they are very jealous. They want attention all the time. So they're even jealous of the children because the children will take your attention away. Be sure that you know who you're bringing your children by. Like in Psalm 127, they say children are a gift from the Lord. Protect them with all your being. Like they are your true treasures, and never let a man or a woman come between you and your children ever. Make sure that you look out for any changes in behavior of your children. If you have anyone new around you, make sure you ask questions, look into things, like protect your children, and make sure you know that anyone in their presence is a good person. And last but not least, the hardest truth there is. You guys, it starts with us parents. We teach our children right from wrong. We teach our children discipline. And we teach our children what love is. And every time I hear this, and I hear it so often, I'm staying for the kids. What you are doing is you are teaching your children that it is okay to stay when someone crosses boundaries. It's okay to stay when someone lays their hands on them. It's okay to stay when someone talks to them like they are a pile of dirt. It's okay that they can sit there and allow such ignorance and abuse, because in the end, you love that person and you think they're going to change. And really what you're doing is you're giving your child the pattern of recognition to know that you can stay in hostile environments, in unsafe environments. And then that child becomes an adult. And that's what they think that love is. I've said this many times. Love is a language. And the same language that they learned to speak is the same language that they learned on how to love. It starts with you. From birth to age 8 is when a child learns all of their beliefs, all of their traditions, how they are to interact with different people, whether it's an intimate situation or even the exterior public. They learn all of these things from their parents. So if you are raising your child in hostile environments, teaching them that love is based on conditions, if you're teaching them that love is of sacrifice and evilness, that is what they understand love to be. Just like if you raise them in a Catholic environment for religion or traditional things that you do, maybe, going to prayer or mosque, 12 hours a day or whatever different religion type traditions and so forth are. Teaching them about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all of that kind of stuff, those traditions that you have, they are learning love the same exact way. And if they are grown to know that love is a sacrifice, it's only on conditions, it's of toxicity, it's of trauma, they don't know love as what it truly is. They don't know that it is of peace and of unconditional value. They don't know that it is of compassion and care and love and physical touch. They don't know any of this stuff because you have them in environments and teaching them what love is not. Now, this is not to victim blame or to even show shame. I am one of those people. I was raised in knowing that love was of toxicity. I am a former childhood abuse survivor. I lived in poverty when my mother escaped her abuser. And so I learned love even as sacrifice. And because my mom was sacrificing herself to support kids now on her own, I then knew emotional immaturity, and I didn't have that loving companionship from my mother. And my father had abandoned me. He was not around. So the love that I learned was always of chaos and commotion and struggle and sacrifice and so forth. Please do not raise your children in these environments to learn that same pattern and to learn that behavior and think that that is acceptable. This starts with us, and it needs to be addressed by showing and being that example of the love that they deserve and that you deserve. So if you can't leave because you love them or you think they're going to change or because of the kids, then leave for your kids. Leave and be the love that your kids deserve and the love that they should be shown and they need to be taught because they deserve it. Our brains technically do not know right from wrong. We teach it that. And how we learn safety, how our brain accepts safety, is by the patterns that it knows. So when it is in a toxic environment and that's what it knows is love, that's exactly what it veers towards. So as an adult, if they don't understand this trauma and this toxicity and this way of love that should be, then they go towards individuals and they entertain individuals of the only love that they know, the toxic people and so forth. They also become people pleasers because, yes, they may know that they don't want to be abused, but at the same time, to avoid the abuse, they then give everything they have, or they become, like I said, an empathetic person, or they mirror the evilness that they knew as love, not because they're an evil person, but because that is all they know. If you were to place me in Russia right now, I wouldn't know how to communicate with people because I don't speak Russian. And that's the same way that love is. Love is a language. If you put them in safe environments, they feel unsafe because they don't know that atmosphere and that environment because they were raised in toxicity. Please do yourself a favor, do your kids a favor, be the love that they deserve, and get yourself out of these environments. Teach them true love. Life is filled with many storms, and that's just a part of life. But do everything you can to not let your kids get wet. I know that times are tough, but a child's shoulders aren't built to carry the weight of their parents' decisions and choices and consequences. Please, if you don't love the life that you're living and you know the misery that you're in, be the change because it starts with us.